My computer's glitching as well. So, hi everyone. I have let's see. I need to make sure I'm in the right group actually. One moment. Let's see. Okay, sorry guys. I know I'm live. I logged onto Gutsy Mom and not Gutsy Health, so I'm trying to figure it out, and Tibek is trying to tell me that. So, and Tibek, if you are listening, can you tell me if I'm live on Facebook because I am technologically illiterate? Thanks for waiting, everyone. Thanks for waiting. Okay, I think I'm live on both places. So let's get going, guys. I want to talk about carbs today. I want to talk about insulin resistance. I want to talk about like fasting and all of the things, right? Because I don't like talking about weight. I don't think a healing journey should be a weight loss journey. I think weight loss should be part of like a side effect of healing your hormones, because you guys have heard me say this a bajillion million times. You can't just lose weight by hitting the gym really hard. You have to do it. Oh no, I think I broke Tristan's computer. You have to do it by, there we go. You have to do it by fixing your hormones. And once your hormones are fixed, once your insulin resistance is fixed, once your glucose metabolism is fixed, then the weight comes off really, really easily, right? So 75% of weight loss is nutrition and hormones. 25% of it is exercising, all right? So we need to make sure that we have all of those hormones in place. By a show of hands, have you guys seen the carb lectures yet? If not, it's not a big deal. We'll still talk about or reiterate what was spoken about in the carb lecture. But I want to talk a little bit about fasting for a second, because do you guys remember in the carb lecture, we talk about insulin spikes and insulin dips, right? So we have this space of homeostasis, and our blood sugar likes to stay in that homeostasis. And what the standard American diet actually does is it does this to our blood sugar. So we're above, way above and below that homeostasis line. And so what happens because when we go up and down, we are releasing a hormone called insulin, right? And that insulin is not only trying to bring the blood sugar down, but it blocks fat metabolism and it switches on fat storage, right? And so what happens is, can you guys imagine if there was a mechanism that told our thyroid to hyperproduce thyroid hormone and then stop, and then hyperproduce thyroid hormone and then stop? You would have someone who's extremely manic, right? But when we think of like the hormone insulin, we're like, oh yeah, we can just keep pumping out insulin and no big deal, right? Wrong. Like, this is how we have got our massive amount of metabolic syndrome issues happening in our country, which leads to like pre-diabetes and then diabetes. And then a lot of people say, well, I'm eating like 1,000 calories and I'm still putting on weight. It's because of this up and down and this up and down, and we've broken this mechanism of insulin, and now we are insulin resistant. So a lot of people, the majority of people, they can fix this by eating lots of vegetables, like cruciferous, fibrous vegetables, not necessarily like root vegetables like the potatoes and the sweet potatoes. So if you guys look at your handout, you'll see that there's a list of vegetables where you have like a glycemic index, and you'll see that most vegetables are in the green, and there's like some potatoes that are in the orange and red. So when you are trying to heal your insulin resistance, you want to eat a lot of foods in the greens. And the majority of that are vegetables and fats and proteins, which when you're looking at your menu planners, that's literally everything that I try to put on there is vegetables, fats, and proteins with a little bit of fruit. Questions so far, you guys? Questions. Now, when you are switching over to a less carby, because you guys, carbs really, like the standard American diet, when you think of the food pyramid, the bottom there is like carbs, or it has been for the past few decades, right? They've changed my plate a little bit, but the majority of Americans, we're eating carbs, 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 and then we are like garnishing with proteins and garnishing with fats and garnishing with vegetables when it should be the other way around. Uh-oh, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry, there was a phone call there. So I have one of my kids' plates right here as a wonderful demonstration on how to reverse insulin resistance, and that is by decreasing carbs completely. And I want to talk about fruits really fast, okay? In a little bit. So think of whenever you're looking at your plate, is half of your plate vegetables? This wants to be like not potato vegetables, not sweet potato vegetables. This is like broccoli and cauliflower and onions and garlic and cabbage and carrots and celery and all those yummy, yummy things. And then we have protein here, and so that can be chicken, that can be beans. Certain beans are green, certain beans are in the orange as far as glycemic index goes. So look at your lists. And then we have fats have like no carbs whatsoever. And so this, like, think of this as your visual, like vegetables, fats, proteins. Now, if you have insulin resistance, now let's talk about fruit, okay? Because I had a member ask, my children eat a lot of fruit and I'm worried. Don't be worried because your children don't have insulin resistance. If you have insulin resistance, fruit is going to break you, all right? And because fruit is very carby, it is very sugary. Yes, it has fiber. Yes, it has vitamins and minerals. But if you have something in your body that broke, we have to attend to that. It's kind of like, running isn't bad for you. Running is only bad for you when you have a broken leg. Running is only bad for you when you've overrun and you've damaged your joints, right? And so you have to take these things into account. So unfortunately, I keep looking from like camera to camera. So unfortunately, we have broken a carb mechanism or a sugar metabolism mechanism in our bodies. Uh-oh. Okay. Every time I put my phone on the screen freaks out. So sorry guys, you're going to get like weird eyes all over the place. So every time you eat carbs, we need to be really mindful of retraining the body back into a non-insulin resistance. And that is by not eating carbs, or like fast carbs, which is almost everything besides complex carby vegetables and fats and proteins. Okay, let me look at these questions. What's the best replacement for sweet potatoes when allergic to avocados? Oh man, onions. Let me think about it. You're allergic to avocados. We want something fatty. Give me a second to think about that one. Eggs, can you do eggs? Eggs are really high in fat and protein, and then you'll have to do like broccoli, cauliflower, onions, that kind of stuff. So Julia, let me know if you are allergic to eggs. Is rice a fast carb? It is. Rice is a very fast carb, so that's going to spike your blood sugar. Even whole rice can be a fast carb too. Let me see. If you could only have 3 vegetables, what are your top 3? Broccoli, cauliflower. It's like asking me which ones are my favorite children. Broccoli and cauliflower. Cruciferous are so multifaceted. They're nuts. If you want healthy hormones, if you want healthy digestion, like broccoli and cauliflower. Again, everyone's different, right? And then either garlic and onions, one of the two, all right? How do you know if you are insulin resistant? Is there a test? So you can do blood glucose monitoring throughout the day. You can do it in the mornings, like as you wake up. You can do it after your meals. So eat a meal and then like wait 30 minutes or an hour, but make sure you're consistent every time you're checking. So after every meal, if you're like, I'm going to check 30 minutes after my meal, it has to be 30 minutes after your meal. And you can check multiple times throughout the day to see where your insulin is. Another factor of insulin resistance are like signs of like pre-diabetes. Also, are you tired? Do you have the afternoon crash? Are you, let's see, what else? Do you have a lot of inflammation? Are you gaining a lot of weight? Do you have a hard time losing weight? Are you trying to hit the gym like multiple hours a day and you're just not losing anything, right? So that is the most obvious one, because the weight loss, because the other ones, they can kind of be umbrellaed under a lot of different issues. But the weight loss one is a really big one. How do you help heal your body? How do you help your body digest broccoli? Even cooking gives it major indigestion. So digestive enzymes, and if you can't do broccoli yet, then you can't do broccoli yet. So you're gonna have to back off, let your gut heal a little bit, and then reintroduce broccoli at a later stage, all right? If you are gonna reintroduce broccoli, make sure you're steaming it, because that is going to help break it down the most. Yeah, it leaches the most nutrients too, but we'd rather just start with baby steps, all right? Let's see. So how long does it take to heal insulin resistance? It can take months, it can take years. It depends on how long you've been dealing with it. I don't want to make people extremely optimistic and be like, you can do it in 2 months. No, it takes a little bit of reprogramming. So let's talk about that really fast and the reprogramming. Some people have to go to the extreme with insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome issues. And so please talk to your doctors about this. If you are diabetic, this is probably not for you. Or maybe it is. Again, you have to talk to your doctor. But what, like some of my clients, what we have them do is they will do intermittent fasting 5 days a week, and then they fast for 2 days. Because what that does is it reprograms the body into a fasting state. And over that 2 days, you're kicking into your fat storage. And so you're training, but you don't just do that overnight, right? Like you might want to start with intermittent fasting. The majority of people do really well with intermittent fasting. And then there are people that are more on the extreme side where intermittent fasting isn't good enough. And then they have to do 5 days intermittent fasting, 2 days just fasting. So what you want to start with is intermittent fasting for 6 days and then fast 1 day. Do that for a few weeks. And then intermittent fasting for 5 days and then like 24/7 fasting for 2 days. And that is one way that you can retrain. Some people eat for 4 days and fast for 3 days. Now, there are multiple factors around this. Please don't just do it. Talk to someone about it. You probably need to be coached through it. Do a lot of research, but I want to give you this information where you can get started. If you are thin, you do not want to do this, all right? This is more for people that keep putting on weight and they have no way of losing it. It doesn't matter what they do. They eat the perfect diet. They do the meal plans and they have just plateaued. Because this is what happens a lot with my people. When they eat the meal plans, they'll lose an initial amount of weight and then they plateau. And I call that like phase 1 of detoxing. But then we can't get past the metabolic syndrome issues, right? And so you have to retrain the metabolic syndrome issues with fasting. And there's a lot of like factors that go into fasting. Do you have thyroid issues? Are you hyperthyroid? Then you probably can't fast. Do you have adrenal fatigue? You know, like there's a lot of factors that go into play. So we want to be really mindful. All right. Let's see. I've been on the cusp of pre-diabetes for 2 years. I've drastically cut out my simple carbs and sugar intake. What else can I do to reverse it before I enter in the pre-diabetes? Does timing, meals, or macros matter? Yes. So kind of what I've been talking about is that intermittent fasting and then the fasting for 2 days. So talk to your doctors about that, you guys. It's a very, very handy tool to help retrain your body. Also, for when I see stuff like that, what really helps is to, you guys, write out food diaries. Like write out a food diary, take some photos of that food diary and post it in the group and let us analyze it. Like as a group, let's analyze your food diaries, all right? Because sometimes it could be the timing, sometimes it's a lot of fruit that we don't realize. Check your blood glucose. So buy like a blood glucose monitor. I think you can get like a whole setup for like $30 and check it in the morning and then check it after meals and then check it at nighttime and track where your blood glucose is. All right, let's see what's happening there. Okay, but yeah, sometimes it can take months to years to reverse because again, if you've been dealing with insulin resistance and you've been dealing with it for let's say 20 years, you know, you can't reverse that in 2 months. All right, it's going to take some time. How do you help your body digest broccoli? We spoke about that. Okay, so I think I've answered all the questions here on Instagram. Um, so is rice bad then? Crystal, we don't like rice in our family. We hardly ever eat it. Occasionally, and I mean occasionally, we will buy those rice cracker puffs for the kids for like, car rides and stuff. Rice is high in arsenic. It is also very carby. And for me and rice, yeah, it has some fiber, but I would much rather people ate like cauliflower rice because of the nutrient density and the low carb status, versus rice, which is high in carbs, high in sugars, and high in arsenic. And so for me, it's all about a nutrient density. But there is good, better, best. So maybe you go from white rice to brown rice, from brown rice to quinoa, and then from quinoa to half quinoa, half cauliflower rice, and then you can go to like full blown cauliflower rice. All right, guys. Let's see. I've been eating so much rice, cauliflower, and broccoli, I can't even tell I'm not eating real rice anymore. See, there you go. There you go, Amy. Amy's the perfect example of that. I don't like eating rice. It makes me feel yucky, but I don't like having this heavy feeling after meals. I didn't realize that like that was my norm back in the day of when I eat, I feel extremely full for hours and I'm tired. When I switch from like ricey, carby foods to like cauliflower rice, I feel light and like I can go and do things without feeling weighed down and heavy and wait a second, I need 2 hours to digest my foods. Okay. So thank you, Amy. That's really, really helpful for sharing. I love it. Love, love, love it. How do you know it's a metabolic issue? Again, the weight loss. Like you can't lose weight, brain fog, exhaustion at 2. You crave sugars. I don't know if you guys have seen the lecture, but the blood insulin goes up. So here's homeostasis, right? It goes way above homeostasis and then you crash. And that crashing is the slump. There's a lot of cortisol that is being released at that time, a lot of insulin that was released at that time. And now your body is like, hold on, I got to recover. I just did a surge of hormone releasing. Okay. And so when you are getting the slumps throughout the day where you just cannot maintain high energy, it's either you're going or you're crashing. Let me ask you this. How many people are drinking diet soda with caffeine in it? How many people are drinking Zip Fizzes? How many people are drinking green tea and coffee to keep them going throughout the day? These are metabolic issues. These are adrenal issues. And rarely can you have a metabolic issue without an adrenal issue. All right. So they all are interconnected. If you watch that carb lecture, you will see how stress, when your cortisol goes up, your insulin and your blood glucose goes up. When your blood glucose goes up, your insulin goes up, right? And so we have this triad of hormones all spiking because of stress or all spiking because we eat a lot of sugar. And then we're crashing over and over and over. And then we're just tired. Okay, so that's a really great way of that. When healing the gut, are there any grains you can eat? I tend to get tons of acid issues when I go mostly veggies and proteins. What are your suggestions? So Julie, my go-tos are quinoa and oats, but make sure they are sprouted oats. The 1 Degree brand is my favorite because they're organic and they are sprouted. So those would be my go-tos, are the oats and the quinoa. So try those out, see how it goes. But make sure you guys are supporting your digestion as well. All right, like you're getting digestive enzymes. Have you all done the baking soda test? If you haven't, Tebecca, I hope you're listening, just repost it on my stories. Everyone do the baking soda test. And if you fail the baking soda test, then you need to support your hydrochloric acid, but make sure you don't have any stomach ulcers. All right. Let's see. I had my yearly lab work done and my fasting blood sugar came back high at 198. That is super, super, super high, you guys. You want it at like 80. My doctor was concerned, so ordered an A1C, which came back 5.2, which is normal. Do you have any thoughts on why my fasting blood sugar was so high? I am eating super clean. Blah, blah, blah. Where did it go? I'm eating super clean, lots of vegetables, good high fats, high good proteins, no sugar. So Deborah, this is a really great opportunity to fill out a food diary and let us analyze it. If you guys are comfortable filling out food diaries and we're analyzing it as a group, that would be a great learning experience, okay? Because I know the majority of people don't follow the meal planners exactly, which is totally fine. They are guidelines. If you guys did follow it perfectly and we're still having these issues, then I'd be like, something else is going on. And so let us see what environmentally is happening. But I do think that 198 is potentially a lab error. I mean, I would like to see some more blood work to reconfirm that. And so if it is really that high, you should be getting blood work done again pretty soon to make sure it doesn't stay that high, because that's like diabetes status, okay? Does being in ketosis raise your blood sugar? So if you are starting ketosis, if you're starting like a ketogenic diet and your goal is to get into ketosis, you might have a blood sugar spike right in the beginning in like the first few days, because remember, glycogen stores in the muscles and the liver, you might be burning through that depending on your stress. And so that might cause a sugar spike. But when you're in ketosis, you shouldn't be having high blood glucose. But that's actually more of a question for Tristan. I will have Tristan answer that. He's not here. He's getting his blood drawn today. So that's this scenario that Deborah shared with us. It's really unique and a little complex. And so things that I would want to look for are other markers in the blood work, as well as a food diary, like the time that they're eating, the amounts they're eating, and all that jazz. Because let's say you're doing a keto diet. There's healthy, and then there's healthy, right? And so with the keto, people might be eating like all cheese and bacon, and so I don't know. There's not enough data for me to come up with a good conclusive response. So Crystal, with you saying that the problem is rice is one of the foods that doesn't hurt my tummy, you should be eating rice, because any kind of fiber right now is tearing you up. So Crystal has IBD. Remind me, Crystal, is it IBD or IBS? And so I don't know if you guys are on the Facebook group, but it doesn't matter what she does. Her symptoms of her IBD or IBS it just keeps flaring up. So what we actually recommended for her is an elemental diet. And what an elemental diet does is it gives her the bare minimum of nutrients to keep her healthy, but without the fibers, without the foods. It's like drinking a protein shake every single day until the gut lining heals up. So let's talk about this for a second. So when your leg breaks, and I've used this example quite a few times, so if you guys have heard it and you're tired of it, let me know. When you have a leg that breaks, you go to a doctor, they put it in a cast, and you're on crutches, and you do not put any weight on it for like 3 months, right? Or is it 4? It's a really long time to let that bone heal. When your stomach breaks, you can't go to a doctor and the doctor say, well, just don't eat for 3 months, wait for it to heal. You can't do that. You'll starve to death, right? So we're at a disconnect when it comes to the GI tract breaking down. And the sad part about this is all of us have GI tracts that are breaking down to some degree, some more than others. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, our Crystal Adams, she is a full-blown 10, right? And therefore, we have to take really extreme measures with her, like an elemental diet. So the elemental diet is as close to putting your stomach in a cast as possible. And so if Crystal, let us know how that goes if you embark on the elemental diet with those products. But and unfortunately, like, you have to buy the products, you have to have them shipped to you. You can't make it yourself, right? And so so with the elemental diet, you are trying to relax your GI tract as much as possible. You're not irritating it with any kind of fibers whatsoever. And so that's the extreme. The less extreme is intermittent fasting, because the intermittent fasting gives your gut some time to heal and repair. Because if we're constantly eating all day, every day, like throughout the night, then your gut really only has about like 6 hours, maybe 8 hours, because that's maybe you eat right before bed and then you eat right as you wake up, your gut only has 8 hours to really rest and digest fully, right? And then you're back at it at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then 10, and then 12, and then 2. And so your gut is constantly working and it's never getting a break. So intermittent fasting is a really great way to heal your gut as well. And then the fasting, if you're fasting like for 2 days out of the week, that gives your gut a really good break to just kind of like clean out, heal, repair, do its thing, really rest, really heal versus work all the time. Think about like a car, for instance. The gas mileage that you get on the freeway. It's just like cruising. You're not revving the engine, nothing. And so you get more gas mileage on the freeway versus in town where you're stopping, starting, right? When we're eating all throughout the day, it's like driving around town. Stop, start, rev, do this. So we're working the engine a lot harder. So we're getting less gas mileage. So, and again, everyone is different because some people, especially breastfeeding moms or pregnant women, you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours, right? You just have to keep your calories up. But the majority of us, if we can just eat like 3 times a day, that's awesome. Then you're eating, you're resting. You're eating, you're resting. You're eating, then you're sleeping. And then take that to more of an extreme where you're only eating 2 meals a day. So you're intermittent fasting, right? So let's say you eat, because you exercise in the morning, so you're eating breakfast and then you eat a big lunch and then you're intermittent fasting through dinner and then bedtime. So you want to kind of schedule your intermittent fasting around when you are exercising. You don't want to exercise in the morning and then keep fasting, and then only start eating at 2, because then you might just have like massive like hypoglycemia, which is the other problem, right? Let's see what else. Are there any other questions or concerns? So going back to our plate, right? Vegetables, not like root vegetables like potatoes and sweet potatoes, but veggies and then fats and then proteins. This is like the best. Vegetables, fats, proteins. Sorry guys, oh my gosh. So veggies, fats, proteins. Does your plate look like this all the time? Are these the ratios that we're working in? And then on the little side here, that's where fruit is. So think for the majority of people, 2-to-1 ratio. 2 vegetables for every 1 fruit. Again, talking about children, fruit is a really great transitional food from like the standard American diet to like vegetables. Why? Because it has textures and fiber. And so food, we don't realize food is very sensory too. Food isn't just a taste thing, it's a sensory thing, it's a texture thing, right? And so retraining children to go from mushy food to high fibrous texture food that hasn't got that over like stimulation of sugar, that's really hard. So you have to maybe go from standard American diet to fruit, and then fruit with fiber, and then from fruit to vegetables. All right, so fruit is really great. Most children don't have insulin resistance. I'm seeing more and more kids with it though. Kind of sucks, but that's the reality of our lives right now. More and more sick children, and this shouldn't be happening, but it is because we eat the standard American diet, so we get the standard American diseases. Okay. Let's see. How do you help your body digest broccoli? I think I answered that. Is ketosis or keto diet good to follow or unhealthy? Let's talk about the ketogenic diet, you guys. Yes and no. I don't love the keto diet. I love a modified keto because when you count and restrict vegetables for the majority of people, big problems, right? Like vegetables are healing foods. And when you're like, oh, I'm only allowed X amount of healing foods per day, but load me up on the bacon, there's a disconnect there, right? And so I love keto if it's high fat, high quality protein, not just like In-N-Out burgers wrapped in lettuce. Like, what was that burger fed? Was it fed corn? Was it fed grains? It all matters, right? So high quality meat, high quality fats, not trans fats, because that's going to be inflammatory. That's going to trigger inflammation in your body. That's going to trigger indigestion. And then tons and tons of vegetables. So I think for most keto people, it's between 20 and 30 carbs of veggies per day, that's baloney. Like, go nuts on the vegetables. Don't go nuts on the potatoes, right? But go nuts on the veggies. Like, eat all the broccoli you want, all the onions you want, all the garlic you want, all the greens you want. Like, go to town because your body needs that. Get your 8 to 10 servings of veggies a day. All right. So keto in that sense, yes, abso-freaking-lutely. Keto in the eat bacon and cheese all day and one piece of broccoli, like, no, I can't support that. Like, that doesn't work. But again, everyone is different. So here's the thing about nutrition that I want you guys to understand is nutrition, there is no one size fits all. That is the biggest lie that we have all been taught in society is everyone needs to do this. Everyone needs to do this. Everyone needs to do this. That's a lie, all right? We all have to do what our bodies are capable of doing in this moment. We have to do we have to eat in a way that puts out the biggest fires at that time. So with Crystal, I can't tell her, eat all the vegetables, you'll be fine, you'll heal. No, the fiber is literally tearing her up inside. Her gut needs to heal. Like, we need to put her on an elemental diet, right? The majority of people, yeah, like, let's retrain your gut to digest vegetables. People with SIBO, very different too. Some of them have to go on an elemental diet, and then we have to put them on a strong protocol to weed and feed, so they can't just eat fiber all day long and pray for the best, like we have to take each individual person's symptoms and issues and weaknesses into account and then go from there. All right. You know what, guys, I am going to get a schedule. I'm going to chat with Tristan about the best time to check your blood glucose. All right. Because I know there's a pattern and there's something. So I'm not sure if it's 30 minutes or an hour after meals. So I'm going to post that. I've been posting a lot in the Instagram. Tristan posts a lot in the Facebook group. Tebecca, if you're listening, if you can take my posts from Instagram and put them in Facebook and Tristan's posts from Facebook and put them on Instagram, that would be amazing. But I will post something on Instagram about timing of checking your blood glucose and when the best time is to do that, if that is something you want to do. And if you guys are doing it, please share your results with us, like educate us. Let us all learn together. As I experiment on myself, I'll share it with you guys. As you experiment on yourself, if you want to share it with us, that'd be fun. Because the more collective data we can get together, the more we can learn. Carrie right now is doing, hi Carrie, if you're here, she's doing the liver reset protocol, and she's like sending us like daily updates on it. And it is fascinating to watch because like she is doing so awesome. And can you imagine if everyone like shared that much data on like their process and how they felt going through the liver reset program? Like, we would all know what to expect to some degree, right? With like some variances along the way. But I've really loved her sharing her story on the liver reset program. So that's been really cool. And I think that's it. Is ketosis or, yeah, we spoke about that. Top foods to help move your bowels. Okay. Anything with fiber. So let's talk about chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp hearts, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, celery, certain whole grains. Yes, whole grains do help that as well. If your body can handle grains, right? Because of our standard American diet and overeating grains, we've created some micro trauma to our GI tracts. And so we have to kind of reverse. And again, because we've eaten so many grains throughout our lives, we now have insulin resistance, which is why I'm not anti-grain. It just doesn't really have a space in this kind of healing platform at the moment. Once people have healed, go ahead and like create all the sourdough you want, right? But in the meantime, let's retrain insulin resistance. Let's like heal the gut and not throw more ammunition on a fire that could be in your gut, right? So whole foods, basically, nuts and seeds, they help move things around. But I would say most vegetables, chia, flax. Chia and flax are very soluble, so they draw in water, so they can bring water into your poop and make it softer. So throw chia and flax and hemp hearts into your smoothies, you guys. I try to put those in there a lot. But throw them in your green smoothies. And there you go. I think that's it. That's it for now. We need to revisit digestion because the digestion live got destroyed. Last time Tristan and I were talking for like 40 minutes. So I'm really sorry about that. I think, can you explain how do you know if you have insulin resistance? Real fast, if you have the energy slumps throughout the day, if you just keep putting on weight, you can't seem to lose weight no matter how well you eat, no matter how many macros you're counting, no matter what, you probably have insulin resistance if you keep maintaining weight or putting on weight. If you have hormonal imbalances, sex hormonal imbalances, you might have insulin resistance. Adrenal fatigue, you probably have insulin resistance to some degree. So, but the biggest one is weight gain and just feeling tired throughout the day. Once you've eaten, you're exhausted right after. How many of you guys actually feel that when you eat, you're tired? Or 2 o'clock, 1:30 comes, 2 o'clock, and you're ready to take a nap. Like if that's you, like put a thumbs up or something, because that's a lot of people. I would say that's like 8 out of 10 of my clients that just cannot function. They have to take a nap either at like 11 or 2 o'clock. Are there any other things specific that help give your metabolism a boost? So cutting out sugars, cutting out grains, like this whole plate right here, like it's really simple. Like vegetables, fats, proteins. If you can like measure your plate like this all day, every day, and say, is half of what I'm eating complex carbs, followed by fats, followed by proteins, that is the best way. There is a supplement, if you guys need to retrain, it's called Metabol, I think, by Standard Process. And I want Tristan to talk about that in a little bit. So hopefully, well, he's got clients all day today. We'll get him to, I'll ask him if he can write like a quick post on the Metabol, as well as the insulin, like checking your insulin throughout the day. And I will do a post on that as well. Alrighty. Let me see, anything else here? But really, like that's why when you guys see me talking on Instagram, I'm always pushing like eat a beef stick, right? Eat some seaweed, have like some nuts. If you're gonna do fruit and nuts, right? Because you know, when you're looking at the meal plans too, you'll see the macro count, and I don't want that to throw off people, but you'll see the macro count of fats is really high. All right, like it's a fat guy, like your GIF. You see that like there's a lot of fat, right? Followed by protein or carbs. And it's because that fat is to counterbalance the lack of carbs in the diet. All right, it's to help stabilize every single meal. It's to help keep your blood glucose doing this versus this. All right, because you've been doing this your entire life. Think about children for a second. They eat, they're up here. They are going nuts, right? And then they crash and they're taking a nap. And then they're up here and they're hyperactive and they're destroying things and they can't think properly and they're not playing with one toy, they're playing with 10 and then they crash. They've been doing this their entire lives and we call it childhood, right? Fun story. Tennyson was awful yesterday. And when I was like, what did he eat the night before? We made popcorn. I made popcorn. We watched a movie. I put some honey on it. I put ghee on it. I put Redmond sea salt, but like that was the most carby, sugary meal that we've had in a while. And the next morning it was meltdown after meltdown after meltdown. It was like his brain shut off and like lights were on and no one was home. And it was just like tantrum after tantrum, right? And so I was like, oh yeah, that's like a food hangover for him. Like his hormone system is thrown off because the insulin was thrown off, therefore cortisol is thrown off. And one fun thing I just learned yesterday, you guys, yay. When mom is stressed during pregnancy, it messes up the children's HPA axis, so hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenals. And so then their HPA axis is messed up. And I'm like, that's probably why I have highly anxious children, because I had very stressful pregnancies. And so that's fun. So when you're pregnant, be treated like a queen. Take lots of naps. Have everyone dote on you. Don't stress about anything. Watch all the TV you want. Drink all the superior minerals you want. Eat all the foods, all the healthy foods, right? My favorite nuts to eat, if you can soak them, walnuts, pecans, almonds, Brazil nuts, you guys, really important for selenium, cashews, and pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, I know it's not a nut, but pumpkin seeds are really, really great. And I think those are my favorites. If you guys have a favorite, like shout it out. Let's see what else. What else am I missing? What else am I missing? Best place to order organic nuts. So you guys, it's in your I think it's your week 1 handout. But to order organic nuts is Wildly Organics or Wildly Organic. Tebecca, correct me if I'm wrong. It's wildlyorganic.com or wildlyorganics.com. They have organic nuts and seeds and nut butter, and they also soak it and dehydrate it before they sell it to you. So if you don't want to soak and dehydrate your own nuts and seeds because you don't have the mental bandwidth like me and you just want to buy it, then just buy it like that. Few things to notice about Nutso. If you can get organic, awesome. Remember, nut butters, they don't soak their nuts and seeds. All right, so if you're having digestive issues with that nut butter, try the Wildly Organics nut butter. See if that's any better. Try soaking and dehydrating your own nuts and make your own nut butter. And if you're still having issues with that, maybe your gut isn't ready for nuts and seeds yet. So, but again, you don't want to cut out foods for too long. Thank you for that link. So it's wildlyorganic.com. Tebecca just posted it on the Facebook group. So there you go. I think I answered everyone's questions. Thanks for talking, you guys. I love it. I love these lives, and I hope you guys do too. I hope you find value in them. Please keep sharing your stories, share your victories, share your defeats. Remember, like, this is a sprint. I mean, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I need more sleep. This is a marathon. You're gonna have good weeks and bad weeks. Start with the super simple menu plan, all right? I just did a post yesterday on fast desserts that you can just buy and eat. So do the super simple menu plan and then buy those healthy desserts and eat those and not make it. If you just don't have the time and the energy. I worked with a client this week who has MS, and her symptoms have been horrible for 10 years, right? And she wants to change that. And so I did her hair analysis. And it was good and it was bad news, because the good news was there was no infection, there was no viral stuff that's aggravating the MS. But the bad news was that it was all lifestyle. And so I asked her, how far do you want to go with this? I can't just give you a supplement. I can't just give you this. We're going to have, you're not eating enough vegetables. I looked at her food diary and it was a lot of fruits and crackers and oatmeal, which is fine, but where's the veggies? Where's the veggies? You can't just get veggies from salsa, right? Like corn chips and salsa. That's not a highly nutritious meal. That's blood sugar, insulin going like this, boom, right? Because tomatoes are pretty sugary, and then corn chips are, let's not even go there. And so I told her, I'm like, let's just start with green smoothies in the morning, because when she's done with breakfast, she has to sleep. And I told her, I'm like, and her hair analysis showed energy metabolism, and it showed, what else did it show? It was really interesting. She was such a fascinating case study. But energy metabolism was one. And I said, how do you expect your body to manage your symptoms of MS when it doesn't even have energy to have you functioning throughout the day? It's not going to prioritize putting out the neurological fires. It's going to prioritize getting you through. And so I said, okay, green smoothies every day, the super greens every day. And then you make 2 dinners a week and your kids make 1 dinner per week. The menu plans, they're easy. The recipes are easy. Or hire someone to make the dinners, have them come for 1 hour a day and have them make the dinner while you lay in bed and you rest, right? Get your children working if you can. Is Superior okay on liver cleanse? I'm going to have to ask Tristan that. I'm pretty sure it is, though. So I don't see why it's not. So I think the stevia would be the only thing. I will ask Tristan that question. He's the liver reset guy. So let me ask him. Tebecca, can you make a note if you're listening? Make a note to ask Tristan if Superior is okay on the liver reset. I don't think I've heard him say so in the past. He normally tells people to do the trace minerals or the cell food. But that's it. Okay, was this helpful, you guys? Let me know. Oh, Carrie Jones. Okay, Carrie, thank you. Carrie to the rescue. Yes, you can do the superior on the livery set. Tristan said it was fine. So there you go. It's been almost 2 years since I've done the livery set. So, anyways, okay, guys, I love you all. You're all doing fantastic work. It's hard work, it's necessary work. You guys have jumped in the pool with both feet first, and I love that. Like, I want to re-challenge you. If you have taken a few weeks off from the meal plans because it's too much structure and it's too much overwhelm, that's okay. But I'm going to challenge you to do the super simple menu plan this week. Why? Because it's really tasty and it's got a lot of salads and yummy smoothies. And again, it's literally green smoothies every day and 4 dinners throughout the week with 1 prep day of making a big batch. This week, it's a beet and lentil burger patty that you're going to make on the weekend. So you're going to make a big batch of the patties and then just warm them up and make your little burgers, okay? Thank you. Took this week off while on vacation. Never again. I'm a mess. You know, Gloria, vacations are so hard, right? Like, they're so hard. We're going on vacation in 2 weeks and I'm excited, but I'm nervous because I know my kids are going to eat all the junk that their cousins eat. And we're gonna take our snacks and we're gonna take our healthy food and we'll probably be really good about it. But it's hard. It's hard being around all the other food and not partaking because food is very, very, very emotional. And you know, I remember Lake Powell trips and it was like homemade ice cream at night while you're sitting under the stars playing card games, right? It's so it's just retraining, recalibrating our emotional centers around different types of foods that can bring pleasure. This is why, I mean, COVID put a big wrench in my plans for creating weekend picnics with families where everyone brings healthy foods, and we all go to a park and have our kids eat healthy foods together and socialize with healthy food. That's what I wanted to do this year and it never happened. Yay, COVID. But recreating I guess traditions around healthy foods can be just as rewarding, but it just takes time. And you have to remember that you are recreating your baseline, and recreating a baseline can be really challenging, really emotionally draining. There is a mourning process. Don't forget that. There's a mourning process with food, all right? And then there is a regrowth process. It's like going through a divorce and then remarrying. You have to go through the divorce first and be like, you were really toxic for me, but I met this new guy and we're learning about each other and we're falling in love and we might get married someday. So think of healthy food as the second guy that treats you well. Hopefully that wasn't triggering for anyone. I'm sorry. I shouldn't talk about divorce. I love you guys. You're doing great. Try this week's meal plan. Just do the super simple one and then go buy your desserts, the ones that I posted about in the Instagram. And just try it and see how it goes. Alrighty. I made the mango avocado chicken salad yesterday, and the popsicles. I wanted to make sure they were tasty for this week, and they were so good. So try them, get your superior minerals. There is that discount code Happy July for 10% off. And that's it. I'm going to contact Elia, contact Ryan. Let's on the Facebook group, see what time is a good time. If we're going to do Zoom calls, but only 3 people can Zoom call, then it's not going to be a good Zoom call, right? So what are the best times to do Zoom calls? Tebecca, if you can do a little poll on Instagram and Facebook for the best day and times for Zoom calls for our guests, that would be really great. Best place to buy those 3 desserts. Okay, if you're near a Natural Grocers, you can get all 3 of them. Otherwise, there is, I think, Amazon, or I don't think the keto cups are at Sprouts, but I know that the Heavenly Organics is at Sprouts, and the acai bites are at Sprouts, and I've seen the acai bites at Harmon's. And so, I don't know if I've seen the acai bites at Natural Grocers. If you're at a Whole Foods, you'll probably see the Heavenly Organics at Whole Foods, as well as the keto cups at Whole Foods. They're really hard. North Carolina. I don't know what's in North Carolina. Is there natural grocers in North Carolina? Sprouts is probably your best bet, followed by Whole Foods. Call them first and see. And hopefully there's and then make the so I don't know if you guys saw my stories on Gutsy Mom, but my kids they tried the popsicles and they're like, is this like candy? I'm like, no, it's just a lot of minerals and what it was almost too sweet for me, but they loved it. So make your own popsicles. You know, if you can, those are really take like 2 minutes and then you freeze them. Make a lot. You know those like those pouches, you know, like the Otter Pop pouches. You can buy those pouches on Amazon and then load up and make a ton of like Otter Pop popsicles, and then just go to town on those. All right. Okay, guys. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Good luck with your meal plans. Watch the lectures. Watch the videos if you can. There's some really good information there, but I will try to keep reiterating what is in the lectures throughout the weeks, all right? And I'm really excited to spend more time on these platforms and less time in the clinic because I truly feel like it's the at-home support that people need, not the clinic support quite as much. Even though people do still need to find answers, the magic happens at home in the kitchen. So just remember that. Bye, guys. Bye. Thanks for dealing with my technical difficulties and hanging up there and here.